Erev Tov, Rabotai. We're getting close to Yom Kippur coming soon, B'ezrat Hashem. Wednesday night, Thursday. We're coming up there, so we need to talk about Yom Kippur. The first thing, I want to tell you is that it says in the Gemara like this, a drasha, that the pasuk seems to say that you should fast like 2 days, 9th of Tishrei and also 10th of Tishrei. It seems to say like this, So Gemara asks, what, you want to, what? We're fasting 2 days or we're fasting 1 day? How many days are we fasting? Right, so it says the Gemara, the answer is, yeah, we're fasting 1 day, but if you eat on the 9th of Tishrei, the day before Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur, Hashem gives you credit, merit, like you fasted 2 days. If you eat on Erev Yom Kippur. So what does that mean? It's a mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. So Yom Revi'i, a person should take some time, to eat before the tzom. Why? Because otherwise, how is he going to handle 24 hours, 25 hours, 26 hours of fasting? How is he going to handle that if he's not, strong and healthy, right? Because he ate and drank good. So it's a very big mitzvah to eat and drink, on Wednesday, that we should be able to come into the fast, strong and healthy, so we should be able to handle it. This is the thing, And then they say, if you do that, Hashem says you fasted 2 days, you get credit for 2 days. 2 for the price of 1, right? Good deal. Okay, there you go, right? So, how much should a person be eating on Erev Yom Kippur? So it says in the Chazan Ovadia, Maran Ovadia Rashom, he says at least minimum you have to have 1 seudah, minimum before the Yom Kippur. 1 good meal, solid meal. You know what I mean? Don't just eat snacks all day. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of this. No, it's not good enough. Sit down for at least 1 good meal. And if you have more, it's even better. 2, 3 meals, some people do even more. Where, we don't have to go that far, According to Kabbalah, they say, 7 meals. Who's going to do 7 meals? Who has time for that? Nobody has time for this. We're not mekubalim, we're not really on that level to do things like this. But anyway, the point is, right, that the idea is there, you get the idea. At least 1 good solid meal. 2, 3 is even better. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, right? Have everything and enjoy, and get strong. To strengthen yourself to come into the Yom Kippur. So that's one thing, right? That we want you to do that. Also, another, good advice, just tell you that a person should drink, good also before Yom Kippur. And don't, wait till the last minute, like a half hour before Shkia, start drinking a lot, water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's going to come in and go out, right? It's not going to stay in your body like this when you drink too much, in one shot. Right? So what you got to do is drink, all day, like every hour, try to drink something. This way, right, your body is getting ready, it's going to absorb the liquid like this, without just flushing it out, Who needs that, right? Comes in, goes out, it doesn't help you much like that, right? That's the thing. So you got to make sure, you drink also, that you're hydrated. There are, by the way, doctors who talk about what's good to eat, before a fast, before tzom. They talk about, things like this, So they say, like pasta is good, for before the fast. Macaroni, things like this, right? Spaghetti, things like this. They say it gives you energy, before the fast. That's what the doctors say, But the truth is, the Chazal say there's something else. They say that try not to eat, things which are harif, spicy, too much spices. Before Erev Yom Kippur. Why? What's the reason why? What do we care if you eat spices? Maybe you're Israeli. Maybe you like spicy food. Whatever, right? What's the problem? So the problem is that when you eat spicy, it heats up the body. Gets hot. The spices heat up the body. So what they say is, it could be because his body's all heated up when he goes to sleep on Yom Kippur. After he came home from shul. He may have keri, lo alenu. He may see some wetness, You know what I'm talking about, right? He may see because his body is very hot. So why is that so bad? Because they say, a person who sees keri on Yom Kippur, this is not a good sign. It's a siman ra, bad sign, They say he may not even live that year, live out the year if he sees keri on Yom Kippur, And if he does, that means he had a big zechut, Otherwise he wouldn't have been able to. So it's a bad sign, to see keri on Yom Kippur. So therefore, we tell you, eat, yes, good, everything, but eat mild foods, not spicy, In other words, be like Ashkenazi, for Wednesday, Don't be Sephardi. Eat the nice mild foods, And not too heavy, things which are too heavy, they also heat up the body. Light foods, more, like chicken, let's say, right, which is a little bit lighter than the beef. So things like this, not too heavy and not too spicy. This is the thing, right? These are things you want to avoid. But, right, although this is true, but we have to say the truth, right? It doesn't really apply to women, this halakha. Why? Because the women don't have keri, So there's no problem with them. It's only for the men, this halakha, really, Just right. Okay, you get the idea, right? So that's also another thing that the Chazal tell us to be careful, right? On Erev Yom Kippur, so make sure you come in, right, with the proper, properly adjusted. Your body is well adjusted for the tzom, right? Okay, fantastic. So let's go to some other things, right? Which is about Kapparot. A lot of people always ask about Kapparot. What's the best way to do it, right? Should we do it with money or with chickens? This, right? This is always a question comes up like this, right? So the truth is, it's a big machloket, this whole thing. If you look in the Shulchan Aruch, he says there over there, not to use chickens, to use money, kesef. Zeh kesef, right? Litzedakah yelech, right? Like this, right? Kesef. Why does he say this? He brings it from the Ramban, and also the Rashba, and also two Geonim also write like this. Rabbi Netronai Gaon, right? There are some rabbis who say this is not a good minhag, to use chickens. Darkei ha'emori, right? Darkei ha'emori. What does this mean? It's like avodah zarah, like you're doing some kind of korban or something to some avodah zarah. It's not. This is not the way to serve Hashem, So they say don't use chickens. That's what they say, right? On the other hand, we have Geonim who say just the opposite, right? That the minhag is to use chickens. And also the Arizal says this, the Arizal. And also we have the Rama also writes that. He brings it down in the Shulchan Aruch. So we have a big machloket, Big machloket today if we should use chickens or not. I remember, I have this memory in my head. When I was a child, I was living in Tbilisi, Georgia. I was a little kid. So what happened, right? My parents came Erev Yom Kippur. They took me out of school, that day. And, this was communist country. So you couldn't tell them the truth, about religion, what you're doing. They would tell you, what? Your religion? No! Chas v'shalom. What religion? Right? They would say, God, religion is dogma. That's what they would call it, right? Dogma. You know what dogma means, right? Skaska, that's what they would say, Yimach Shema v'zichram, right? These communistim. So, you know what they did, right? They told them some sheker, my parents, to the teacher. We got to take them out, he's got to go to a doctor or something, I don't know, whatever. They said something, not the truth. Because they didn't want to tell them the truth. So where did they take me? They took me to do Kapparot, And I remember, they did it with chickens, not with money. They did it with chicken.
White chicken?
I don't remember if it was white. I don't know. My memory is not that good. That was 50 years ago. Right, more than 50 years. So my memory is not so good. But anyway, right, the point is, they had this minhag over there. And the truth is, all over, exactly all over they had this minhag. Especially the Sfaradim. They had this minhag, all the communities, and also Ashkenazim as well. So, question is, what do you do now, right? Machloket, minhag, blah, blah, blah. What's the bottom line, right? Tachlis. What do you do? So the answer is like this, what you do is like this. If you have somebody you can rely on, to do the kapparot with the chickens properly, he's Irat Shamayim person, somebody who's God-fearing. So, why do I tell you he has to be Irat Shamayim? I'm not worried he's going to steal the chicken, and right, give it to somebody else. I don't think he's that much of a rasha to do something like this, right? You never know, by the way, if he's not Yirat Shamayim, he could use it twice, for two people, One time he'll use it for you, then he'll give it to somebody else, Nobody knows. Nobody saw. Nobody knows. You have a camera over there? How do you know what he did? So we're not 100%. If he's not Yirat Shamayim, it's a problem. But if he's Yirat Shamayim, you can rely on him. So what does that mean? He won't use one chicken, right, for 5 people. Right, one after the other. This is Rasha. Person who does like this. Scam artist. You know what I mean? Fraudster. That's one thing. Okay, I'm assuming he's not that bad. He's not such a big Rasha like this. But even if he's not, there's also other issues, which is that, let's say, right, he does the shchita on the chicken, right, and the shchita came out to be trefa. He didn't do it good, He's doing fast, everything. If it doesn't come out good, you don't get the kapara like this, no good, right? So, again, right, there's a lot of problems. Also, how do I know, right, where this chicken is going? Where is it going, this chicken? Garbage. Chas v'shalom. Oh my God. If that's the case, we got a problem. You know what I mean? Why? Because the chicken is supposed to go to what? For tzedakah. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, right? Just like, we bring, right, we bring money to the synagogue, for tzedakah. Let's say, Erev Purim, right? We bring, the shikalim, right? Goes to the shul. So this chicken is also supposed to go, to some shul or some yeshiva or something like this, That's the whole thing, So what do? In Israel, by the way, you know what they do, right? They take these chickens and they, cook them to give to the Talmidim. Some places do like this. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? So it's tzedakah, right? The Bnei Yeshiva are eating the chickens. That's one thing. Another way is, that they can sell the chickens, and take the money and give to tzedakah. So it's going back, to tzedakah. They can do that too. You know what I mean? This way or that way, whatever it is, but how do you know that all this happened, The shechita was kosher, and he, gave it to tzedakah. How do you know this? If he's not Yirat Shamayim, how do you know what he's doing, this guy, right? Maybe he's right, he's putting the garbage. Maybe, I don't know, God knows what. Who knows? You understand? So this is the reason, if you're not really sure if this guy's Yirat Shamayim, better to do with money. Zeh kesef, l'tzedakah yelech. Zeh temurati, zeh chalifati. Right, like this, what do you need the chicken for? If it's going to go to the garbage, like you said. It's not going to help you with nothing.
Myself, I can do it.
What, you do shchita?
No.
Yeah, on top of your own head, right? And also your family, right? Your wife, your children, right? Each one, right? That's how you do, with kesef. So, if you have somebody, who's Yirat Shamayim, okay, fine, do the minhag with the chickens, you know what I mean? But if he's not Yirat Shamayim, you can't find somebody like that. The kesef is good. Why? Because you bring it to the rabbi, you know where it's going. There's no spekot, there's no doubts about that, right? You know where it's going. The rabbi is not gonna, take it and buy chickens with it. He's gonna use it for the synagogue. That's the thing, So this it could be more safe, That's why a lot of people, I'll tell you honestly, I think most people today are using money, because they don't have, like somebody, to do the chickens for them, all these things, shechita and to guard it and to give it to tzedakah. Who knows? I don't know. God knows. If you have somebody, you have. I heard, there are some people in Brooklyn. No, they do it good. Also in Israel, I'm sure there are people there who are reliable. But here, I don't know, Rigo Park, maybe a safek, papros. I don't know. You want to try your luck? Be my guest. It's not right to use the money. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen. לפי שאומר, זה קדוש ברוך הוא לזכות ישראל, לפיכך הכי בא להם צורה ומצוות שאני אומר בני חפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידין.